guys, how's it going? Today we're in the studio working with some absolutely beautiful and very interesting houseplants, several of which I've never had before, so I'm really excited about it. I just wanted to unpack these boxes one plant at a time, and we'll talk about these plants, and maybe you can help me out in the comment section and give me some tips on some of these that I have never cared for before. So Erin and I just got back from the Grand Garden Show on Mackinac Island yesterday. And you know, when you go to a garden show or a garden tour, you come home usually feeling completely full of inspiration, and you want to go get fresh plants, or you want to go out and rip out a flower bed and start over new, or add something new to your flower bed. I don't know. You just want to make some changes and just get in there and get into your space and make it really pretty. So I knew that the garden center had received like 2 days ago a brand new load of houseplants, and the difference between Mackinac Island and here is that there the temperature yesterday, the high was supposed to be 68 degrees. And then we get home, the high is 105. So houseplants it is. It feels really nice here in the studio. So we're just gonna go one plant at a time and check these out. All right guys, so first plant I wanna talk about here is actually the only plant that I had here already. All the rest of them are brand new, but this one was looking so great. And this is one that Little Prince sent out a while ago. It's been sitting in here in the studio under grow lights, and it's just so beautiful. It's a Sedum dasyphilum, and it's just such a delicate little beautiful plant that's just performing beautifully in this can. If you take a close look, you can see little roots coming out right here. It's just producing roots everywhere. So I'd really like to get this one potted up into a pot at least one size bigger, so that it can kind of spread a little bit more. And I should look up the zone on this one. I wonder if this one's hardy. Corsican stonecrop is another name for it. It's hardy to 0 degrees, so zone 7A. Probably won't be putting this one outside anytime. We're a zone 6 here. This one would be so sweet in a little fairy garden, don't you think? Oh. Next are these spider plants. Now these are very common plants. You can find these in like grocery stores even. There's really nothing super special about these except for they are very, very tough plants. They can take quite a bit of abuse. They can take lots of different light conditions, like climate conditions inside your house. It doesn't matter where I put these, pretty much they do really well, unless it's super, super low light. They don't want to be in a really dark spot. They will start to show some stress, and the leaves will get like more pale green, and you won't have as nice a variegation in them. But the reason I picked these up is that I don't often see them in these little tiny containers right here, and I've been kind of wanting to do some miniature gardens possibly, so it's always nice to have a few of these on hand. Next is one I have never seen before, or had before rather. This is a Begonia conchifolia, and it looks like a pilea. That's what I thought it was when I very first saw it. But this one, it's also called a zip begonia, is its common name. But the really interesting thing about this one, I've read some descriptions of this one, but the stems are kind of a pinkish color if you look in there. And then if you follow the stem up, right where it meets the leaf, it's got this red eye, or like they call it a red dimple on a chubby cheek. I thought that's such a cute description of this plant. But they spread by rhizomes, so like underground roots, and they stay fairly compact. So they're supposedly a very easy houseplant to take care of. You let them dry out quite a lot between watering. They don't want to be in a very bright spot. They want kind of a shadier spot, so maybe in a lower light spot in your house. And it's very nice to have plants like that. And they do bloom. They'll bloom throughout the year in kind of warmer conditions. And the blooms are typically like a light pink to white, kind of in that range. And they are fragrant, and I've never smelled them before. So I hope that this one is happy and it blooms, because I would really, really very much so like to experience what those blooms smell like. But I just think it's such a pretty, just interesting looking plant. The red eye there, or the red dimple, caught my eye right away. This next one, you guys, is a variety of peperomia I've never had before. I've grown lots of peperomias throughout the years, but I don't think I've ever even seen this one. I've heard of it, but it's called Green Bubble. Doesn't it have the most interesting leaf texture ever? Oh, I'm just so excited. I mean, if you take a close look at that, you can see it's got a very bubbly kind of waffle appearance to it. And it's got, just based on the way it looks, now I've never grown this one clearly, but based on the way it looks, you can kind of tell the growth habit, and it looks like this one might stay a little bit more compact as well. And typically for peperomias, they don't want a ton of water. You want to let them dry out a little bit, so they're a lower maintenance houseplant, which is really good for me, because you guys know we don't do a ton of houseplant projects. I did pick up one houseplant that takes quite a lot, I think, but But the way this looks, I'm like, I'm gonna have to mist you every day. I don't know. Anyway, this is one of those that I'm not super worried about, and they typically like a medium sort of light situation, medium to bright indirect light. So I just think this is such a unique, cute little plant. So let's talk about this fern right here. This is a cotton candy is the name of this one. Never have seen it, never have heard of this variety. It looks like one that I will kill quickly. Honestly, I'm hoping not. And I'm kind of wondering, like, should I put this in a terrarium sort of situation where the humidity levels will just be higher? I've got one of those glass cloche things that you can pot this in its own pot and put it in and then put the glass dome over the top. So it's not like a situation where you plant it in the terrarium, like, you know, down in the soil, down at the bottom, but it's rather one that I could put it up to where it'd have a chance to cascade over the side of a pot still. I think that might give this one the most fair chance. I'm guessing this one will want lower light, maybe a little bit of indirect light, but not direct light for sure. And we'll probably want to keep an eye on humidity levels and an eye on soil moisture levels. So this is probably one I should put like right by a faucet somewhere in my house so that it doesn't get missed. But I couldn't help myself, you guys. Like, I just want to touch it. It's just such a soft, beautiful plant. They said when it arrived, they were all, because there's like a tray of these, they were all tight in plastic sleeves. And so they've had to work really gently on bringing the canopy down, but they're so pretty. Now I did pick up a couple of other small ferns. These aren't labeled. They just say table ferns. This type, and I can't even remember what type that is, I can tell based on the leaf structure if it's going to be hard to take care of, and these will not be hard to take care of right here. So these two, and maybe you guys can tell me in the comment section what the variety name is of this one. I could probably find it pretty quick if I Google it, but they've got kind of the dark green with the light green stripe down the center. And again, for miniature gardens, I just picked these up because they're in small containers, they're small plants. They will grow larger than this, of course, but it's fun to find them in this sweet little dainty size. And then this one's a little bit different. This one has longer stems here coming up from the base, and then it's almost got like that autumn brilliance fern vibe to it. It's got that kind of autumn color underneath the leaf too. Whoop. Got more of that kind of orange cast to it and really pretty deep red stems. So we'll put this in the miniature plant section over here. Gosh, these look pretty together. Look at that. See that? The textural difference? Boom. That's a pretty trio. Okay. I think one more little one, right? One more? Yeah. So this little dude looks like a parsley. I don't know what this is. Is this an Aurelia? I don't know, you guys, houseplant people might be laughing at me. I probably should know what this is. There's no label on it, but it's super cute. And it's got the kind of medium green leaf with the yellow, it's like a creamy yellow margin there. And it's just so fluffy and sweet. I had to have one of them. And these were only $3. So I thought, well, let's load up on the miniatures. All right, so this next one right here is a Syngonium albo marble. So apparently this one is a harder one to come by. Now you guys know I'm not like 100% up on all of the houseplant, you know, what is the most popular and what people are after. But I do know that this is the most expensive plant in this whole entire houseplant haul right here. So the leaves come out like arrow-shaped leaves. That have this beautiful white marble variegation. And I did a little reading up on this plant since I've never had one, and I really would like to be successful with it. And it says that if you have a branch up here that is all green, like this one right here, it says to cut them out like that. And that will encourage the growth of variegated leaves because that's what you're going for with this. They can handle a lot of different light situations apparently, like bright indirect light, all the way down to slightly lower light situations. I'll probably start with a medium to slightly bright indirect light, start there and then adjust if we need to. And they can grow like maybe a foot to a foot and a half tall and will trail a couple of feet. So I'm excited about that. I did notice some of them in the tray, there were a few that came in. So there was a tray of these and some of them had an arm already trailing out. And I thought it would be fun just to start with one that was just a little bit more compact and then we'll just get to watch it do its thing. So anyway, Syngonium, is that how you say it? Albo marble is the variety. Really cool plant. So this next one is a giant fern. This is called a crocodile fern. Now look at the way the leaves look. It looks like kind of like leathery crocodile skin. I mean, this is a really well-named plant. And I did a little reading on this. I mean, this looks a lot like a bird's nest fern, which typically are easy to take care of, but I guess this one is a little bit more picky about its environment, like it likes high humidity. I think it comes from Southeast Asia, if I'm not mistaken. I might be mistaken on that, but it likes very warm, like hardiness zone 10 to 11, very warm, humid environments. But it can take differing light situations, like bright indirect light to a shadier spot. And they are fairly slow growing, but they can reach upwards of 5 feet. Wouldn't that be awesome to have this massive, I mean, I don't know where I would even display it, but have this massive 5-foot amazing looking fern somewhere. But it's really cool looking right now. I just love it. Definitely the biggest plant I picked out today. And then I've got a trio. Let me bring these out next. A trio, they're all the same. I thought we could put them all three in the same pot though. So these are a cissus, it's C-I-S-S-U-S. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, discolor. They also call them a Rex begonia vine or a tapestry vine. They're just so amazing. I mean, look at the beautiful, they do look like a Rex begonia. The color of the leaves, and then look underneath, that kind of beautiful burgundy pink there. Oh, they are so pretty, and you can tell, you know, they're sending out these not runners, but vines. It's a vining type plant that you can either put in a container with some sort of trellis for them to climb on, or you can put them in a hanging pot sort of situation where they can kind of gracefully go over the side. They, to my understanding, don't grow like mad, like it's not going to be a huge problem if you have it in, you know, it's a pot by itself and just have it setting somewhere. So I might start with that and just kind of see how they do, let them trail over the side, and then possibly add a trellis later on. But the thing I read about these is that they do not want to dry out. Not very much anyway. So you do want to kind of keep an eye on that and make sure that you are monitoring that. And they do like it to be pretty warm. So definitely an inside plant in colder climates. I will probably put this one in the Hartley and see how it does. I'll just keep it out of like really intense sunshine. I'll just make sure it's bright indirect light. We may have to move it around a little bit, but it's just such a beautiful, beautiful plant. And I have never seen anything like it. And I'm a huge fan of begonias. I mean, I've got one over here on my left. I don't know if you can see it. It might be out of the frame, but yeah, I'm a huge fan of them. And those type you want to let dry out a little bit. So it's one I'm going to have to wrap my brain around, keeping this one a little bit more on the moist side, but absolutely gorgeous. Okay, box on my left, we have a no-name plant. I don't know what this is. There's no tag in it. It's got kind of a succulent leaf. You know, it's a thick leaf. It's definitely a vining or trailing type plant here. It needs to be trimmed. What is this? Anybody know? Based on the way it looks and what the leaves feel like, I'm going to do a very bright indirect light spot and probably keep this one on the slightly drier side. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, this wasn't an inexpensive plant, so I really would like a name for this one. Okay, then we have an alocasia called Silver Dragon. Isn't this a cool plant? Now these, and I checked this before I brought it home, these are a spider mite attracting plant, which you guys know that we deal with spider mites here pretty bad, and we do have them outside, so I'm gonna have to keep this one like, I need to put a bag over it to transport it from here to the greenhouse. Everything is clean in the greenhouse right now. So anyway, we'll keep a really close eye, but this one is just so gorgeous in that it's got those just really silver, I mean, it looks like a silver leaf with green striping. And it's just, the leaves are thicker than maybe other alocasias that I've had, I wanna say. So maybe that'll make them tougher. But yeah, this is one of those that I thought, well, it's kind of along the lines of this fern here. We'll see how it goes. They tend to get mites and they tend to burn on the edges for us. So we're gonna give it a shot. I just think it's such a beautiful plant though. And then here's our giant Rex begonia. I'm such a sucker. Whenever they get Rex begonias in, I have to load up on them. They're so, so pretty. The other ones, the other varieties that they had, I already have in my house or in the Hartley already. So I grabbed this one as soon as I saw it. It's so pretty. That beautiful pink and then that dark, is that like a dark burgundy edge? really beautiful kind of pinkish red stems. And this one's got some blooms, but I don't even grow them for those so much. It's for the leaves. It's kind of like coleus. You know, I want to grow coleus to look at the leaves, not their blooms. Same kind of for hostas. And yeah, what else? Well, those are the only two I can really think of. Yeah, I could just pop the blooms off hostas and coleus and not even have them on there. But the leaves are just so beautiful. The pink, like kind of a burgundy, like deep burgundy, all the way to maybe even a red, and then a lighter pink, and then there's some little silver flecks in there as well. But these tend to want to be on the little bit of the drier side, and they can handle lower light situations, which is awesome because it's hard to find plants that have this kind of color that like really shady locations. Of course, the coloring will be a little bit better, a little bit more vibrant if it gets a little bit more light. So anyway, we've got one left. This is an Epicea Emerald Velvet. And the leaves, you guys, they do feel velvety. I mean, they're so soft. This is a tropical trailing plant that likes higher humidity, and the leaves will start to brown and kind of crisp on the edges if they don't have higher humidity, which means it's a good one for like a terrarium type of setting. I'm guessing, and it doesn't really want to dry out all that much either. So kind of like with our trailing Rex begonia vine thing, I'll put those types of plants and our fern in the same location so that hopefully they'll all receive the attention that they deserve and that they need. But the leaf color is beautiful on this one. It's got kind of like that chocolate brown in there. Chocolate brown and that medium green, and then kind of some rust color in there. And it's just so beautiful. I've never grown one of these before. Oh, I feel like I'm kind of pushing it a little bit with the amount of houseplants I got that need not intense care, but just like you have to know how to take care of the plant to keep them happy, I'm guessing. So this is going to be a tremendous learning curve. So if you never see these in a video again, you know what happened to them. I'm hoping for the best though. So that is the plant haul for today. So now I'm going to kind of clear my workstation a bit. We'll get a few of these planted up and placed over in the greenhouse. I am going to be fertilizing some stuff too. We'll probably fertilize everything that's in the Hartley now. Now that I've had it potted in there, typically I don't fertilize the day that I repot because that's a lot for that plant to handle. But the stuff in there has been in there for a while. So I think I'm going to take the fertilizer in and give them a little dose today. Okay, I need some soil and pots. Okay. I don't think I need any particular kind of soil for any of these except for possibly the little sedum. Although, sometimes if I use the regular potting mix instead of the cactus mix for plants like this, I can get away with a little less water because it holds on to a little bit more moisture. I'm gonna just take a look at this one and see. Yeah, I think I'm gonna use regular for this one. Oh dang, you see all those leaves fall off? So we're gonna be using the organic potting mix for pretty much everything today. And I'm gonna start with the bigger plants first. So the crocodile fern and the Rex begonia. Okay, so I'm gonna remove the pot from this plant. It's crazy to me sometimes to see how big the top of a plant can be with how little the root ball is. Let's take this out. Ooh, now that is root bound. And set it aside for a second. And we're going to use this pot to form the soil around so I don't have to get around the root ball to add extra soil. We'll just be able to introduce it and kind of tamp it in a little bit. Like to leave a little bit of a lip. So what is that, like about an inch or so that we can water really easily without soil coming up over the edge. Okay, and then we just slide the pot out, bring our plant over, and I'm just going to slightly tease the bottom here of the root ball. And we're just gonna pop it down in there. Then all you have to do is kind of get your hand in there and form the soil that's loose in there around the root ball. And that's it. So easy. Oh, it's so pretty. Dang. And I'm not gonna top dress any of my plants today with any moss or rocks or anything like that. I always like to get a really good gauge on how the moisture level is holding wherever I end up putting the plants before I put something on top of it, because a lot of times, you can finger test the soil, but also you can use, your eyes to see what it looks like and see how often you need to add some extra water in there. All right, fern is done. Okay, same thing. take some out in this case. Ooh, I need to add some more. That was a little deep. I don't love that color with that color of pot. What do you think? Should I get a gray one? I think I should. Hold on. There we go. There, what do you think? Better than the terracotta for this color of plant? I kind of think so. That looks good. Okay, let's do the alocasia next. Kind of working largest to smallest here. I typically tend to go toward terracotta or concrete or gray pots. That's usually all I use, and then they kind of all go together pretty well. And terracotta is just so nice because one, it's inexpensive to buy usually, unless you're getting into the great big terracotta. Anything great big though, you start getting a little spendier. But it's just so nice because it's porous, and plants usually perform really well when there's a lot of oxygen exchange for their root system. This soil is a little bit dry, so I'm having a hard time forming it here. Whew, come on. There we go. So something like this, once I get to know what kind of water this one wants, I'll probably come in with a matte black or gray stone to top dress the soil with so you don't see the soil anymore. And that'll look really pretty. Shall we do our syngonium? I think in this pot. Okay, I am getting these identified here so we don't forget the names. I found a cute little topiary form I forgot I had that I can put in the container where I plant these. So I think that this will be a really pretty look right here. And give plenty of room for those to grow as well. Pretty that is. And you know, like I normally would think that this is a little skinny for this size of pot, but once the vines start growing up, it'll be a lot bulkier. So I think it'll be absolutely perfect. This is so dirty. Cobwebs and such. Our no-name plant is done. That went pretty well. I'm cutting a small piece of rag to put at the bottom of this urn right here. For those of you who have been watching our videos for a really long time, do you remember the triple urn challenge when we still lived in our old house? This is one of those urns right here. It's got quite a large drain hole, so I always put like you can put a coffee filter or, you know, like a double or tripled up paper towel, piece of window screen, or an old rag like this one, where water can still go through, but it keeps the soil up in the pot. And in this case, it's gonna probably be helpful to keep as much water as I can up in the pot for this fern. I wonder if that'll even fit in my cloche. It's gonna be close, I think. Okay. Didn't they turn out so pretty? I just love them. I love the pots they ended up in. I mean, I really like anything in terracotta or gray concrete. The one little stem from our cissus or Rex begonia vine, I did put in water, so I don't know, we'll see. I popped a leaf off of that node right there and I'm gonna sink it in here and see what comes of it. That'd be pretty cool if we could get that one to start. And then all the miniatures, like I said, I just didn't pot those up because I'm gonna probably be using them in other projects. So I put them in a saucer, that way I can fill the saucer with water and they can soak it up from underneath. That's how most of these plants are gonna want to be watered anyway. Same with these little spider plants here. We'll just put a little water in the saucer every time we need to water them. But I am just thrilled with how these came out. This is gonna be so pretty. I'm so excited about this one. Okay, so the sun is fully out, no cloud cover today, and it is hot. So what I think I'm gonna do is get a gator inside the barn in the bay just over from us. We'll load them up in the back of the gator and then toss a cloth over the top so that it protects them, because even just a little trip to the Hartley and then waiting their turn to come inside, that could possibly, with some of these, damage their leaves. I won't put this fern in the Hartley, I don't think. I think, well, maybe I'll put it in there. We'll see, because the humidity in there is higher, so it might be a naturally, like, a good spot for it. Maybe right by the sink. I don't know. Okay, let's do this. Got everything organized, watered, fertilized some of the stuff that was already in here. I cut apart and rerooted the split leaf philodendron that we have in here. I think the camera turned off during that process. Unfortunately, it overheated. And then I did realize this right here, the wood table that sits along the south side of our greenhouse, the sun just nails everything that's on this table. So like in the midday, late afternoon sun, it's really intense right there. And it's 105 today, so that's extra intense. But I think what I'm gonna either have to do is fashion some sort of a shade situation right here, or just have a collection of hardy succulents, like hardy ones. Because even some of the soft ones, like some of the echeverias and things, graptivarias, they'll burn in this intensive sun. So I'm gonna have to do cactus and aloes and stuff like that. I was also able to clear part of the counter, which I really wanted to do for a couple of reasons. You know, I had plants all the way over to the sink. I wanted a workspace, like a solid workspace, where I can put my potting table right here, or my potting tray rather, so I can do some work, and there was just no room for that. And because this is a sink counter kind of situation, kind of almost like kitchen-esque, I don't really like cluttered counters, like really cluttered counters. So I like to have just the grouping of plants here and then some breathing space here. I like that. And this is working out great. Isn't that perfect? Now I don't have enough plants to put on there. I do have some African violets and things I could groom up and bring out here. But what a beautiful start. Oh, I missed one. Kind of tried to groom the plants as I was going along. But I'm loving it. Now I popped this one up here so that I would remember to grab a saucer. I forgot to get a smaller saucer, but there's our sedum. And then on the top level here, we have the calathea and one of the vines that we potted last time. Our what is that? I labeled it Syngonium. That sounds wrong. Yeah, marble. And then a rosemary, a peperomia from last time, our begonias, one from last time, one from today. Our alocasia, calathea, our begonia, our ficus, our fern. I put it down here. I decided not to put it by the sink because the morning sun just streams through this window and it would burn that for sure. And then our other peperomia here, emerald velvet. And then our no-name plant there. We've got our Rex begonia vine there. And then on this wall, we have the Pegasus and the ficus from last time. I'm just gonna leave the fern here for now. I think it looks pretty. It's not centered. That'll drive me crazy. Hang on. That's centered a little bit better. Anyway, I think that this is really pretty right here. It's a low maintenance flower arrangement. I've been trying to do just cut flower arrangements in here, but I think I'll just save those for the center of the table. You can see I don't even have one there right now. It'll be nice to have something that can just chill there and look pretty all the time. And then of course our tabletop is fairly empty at the moment, but it kind of looks nice just to have it cleared off. We've got our palm there, and then we've got the philodendron that I tore apart. Looks a lot better. Hopefully they'll root. We'll see what happens. And you guys, that is going to be it for today's project. We are going to get back into, now that we're home and kind of jazzed up about some landscape projects, we are going to be getting after it here pretty quick. The forecast still looks really hot. Okay, let me just read off the next 7 days. 102, 101, 103, 99, 101, 99, 101. September. We should have cooler temperatures, but we'll probably still go for it even though it's a little bit hotter. It does look like at the very end of the 10-day, we might dip down to the low 90s, so maybe that's our start down into fall. So anyway, what a pleasure to have some new plants in here and to just add more into this space. It just becomes more and more cozy and beautiful and just fun with every plant addition out here. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I do hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.